Buddhism is an ancient tradition with answers to life's biggest questions today. Why do we suffer? How do we relate to other beings? And how do we make the world a happier and more peaceful place for everyone? Our mission at BDK America is to help people understand Buddhism better. Are you looking to start learning about Buddhism or dig deeper? BDK America offers free books and videos for peoples of all ages and levels. Our most popular book, The Teaching of Buddha, is available to read in English and 46 other languages in physical, PDF, and audiobook formats. Visit our website for our latest publications and order your own free copy today.
Hello, it's a pleasure to have you join us for today's show. Today, we are continuing our discussion on the fourth mark of existence, which is Nirvana is peaceful and tranquil, or rephrased, life can be great. In this show, I will use a more colloquial expression, life can be great. The expression life can be great reveals two things. First, it tells us that when this state is realized, one experiences far less suffering and far more happiness than previously experienced. For his or her life becomes imbued with the qualities, as discussed in our previous show, of joy, generosity, compassion, curiosity, truthfulness, serenity, equanimity, wakefulness, one-pointedness, and impeccability. This is what is meant by great. Secondly, we have phrased it, life can be great and not life is great. The reason goes to the heart of Buddhist awakening, which calls for individuals to take the initiative to change from within. With this internal change or transformation, a person experiences his or her life as being great. So, we are not making a blanket statement about all life for all people, since we are not in a position to speak for others. That is why I have stressed the can in life can be great, and have tried not to be presumptuous to say life is great. This leads me to the point I wish to emphasize today. That is, the change must come from within. Buddhism helps us to change the way we see the world and ourselves. When we change within, it changes the way we see the outside world and how we act in it. In one of the earlier shows, I shared a joke about a monk and a hot dog. And today, I'd like to complete the second half, which pertains to today's topic. I'll start from the beginning. Well, a Buddhist monk wanted a hot dog. So he walked over to a hot dog vendor on a busy street corner. The vendor asked, "What would you like, sir?" The monk answered, "Make me one with everything." Just to make sure you got it, let me explain. The conventional meaning is that he wanted one hot dog with all the condiments. For example, mustard, ketchup, diced onion, relish, sauerkraut. In other words, make me one hot dog with everything on it. But the deeper meaning points to a religious experience where a person feels at one with the universe in a peak religious experience associated with a state of awakening in Buddhism. So in other words, make me one with everything. Now, let me tell you the second half of the joke that I didn't talk about before. Well, after getting the hot dog, the monk gives the vendor a $20 bill. But even after a while, he didn't get his change back. The monk waited patiently a little longer, but finally, a bit flustered, he asked, "What about my change?" The vendor faced the monk and replied, "Sir, the change must come from within." The joke about a monk and a hot dog is a reminder that spiritual transformation or change must come from within, the heart of today's topic. To illustrate this point, there is a wonderful story about a sailor lost at sea. I grew up hearing this story being told in our temples in California. No one seems to know when or where it came from, but it's had an enormous influence on my personal understanding. At night, a ship leaves the port of a tropical island. After many hours on the high seas, a sailor falls overboard. No one on the ship notices that the man is missing, and the ship sails on its way. The water is chilly, and the waves are choppy. It is hauntingly dark. The sailor paddles frantically to keep afloat. He then starts to swim toward an island he saw before he fell overboard. He soon loses all sense of direction, so he is not sure if he's even heading in the right direction. Although he is a good swimmer, his arms and legs soon grow weary. His breathing becomes labored, and he gasps for air. The sailor feels lost and totally alone in the middle of the ocean. He realizes that this could be the end for him. Despair overcomes him, and his energy begins to drain from his